Hey guys, welcome back. We are starting a new show on this channel today. It is going to be The Expanse. And I don't know too much about this show other than it's sci-fi. You can also tell because of the channel name right here, sci-fi. And I haven't done too much sci-fi on my channel yet, and even though it's one of my favorite genres, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I've watched like 2 episodes of season 6 so far, so that's, I think, the extent of sci-fi on my channel so far. Unless there were any movies that I saw that were sci-fi, I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'm super excited about this. I've heard some really good things, but yeah, again, I don't know anything about it. I don't even know if there are aliens or if this is some kind of just about humans, a story just about humans who have gone out to space. Curious to find out how far in the future this is. Lots of different things that could be very interesting. But yeah, if you want to watch the full reaction, you can check that out in the link in the description below on Patreon. And this also airs 1 week early on Patreon as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, this aired a week ago. And I'm excited. Let's get started. Oh, are they like speeding through time like this? Very cool. The Expanse. I gotta do this hand gesture every single time. Mars is an independent military power. They've got space age war military. Looks Asian. But it's a little too close up, maybe. Nope, yeah. I wonder how they did the effect for her hair. Gravity boots. Is that blood? What's on this ship? That's just the dead guy floating? SOS. Engineering bay. I think SOS for this entire ship. Power reactor. Ooh, lovely shot. What the
We will always be slaves. That's all we are to the earthers and dusters. Every time we demand to be heard, they hold back our water, order, ration our air, and aloof order, until we crawl back into our holes, order, and do as we are told. See you then. Well, voila.
What is Walla?
Walla?
Traitor to my people. Good time. When do these guys come around again and show up? What's the deal with the hat?
Give some character.
Hanging off my head.
He has spurs at the top of his spine where the bones didn't fuse right. He got that cheap bone density juice when he was a child. So even if he disguises himself, he's just like me.
You're nothing like you, long bone.
Stop grinning like an idiot and give me your real name. I promise you things will not go well for you if you do not.
You hit her.
Hey!
Get the cuffs
If I
up.
want his ass kicked, I'll do it myself.
I know who you are. I'll find you. I'll find you.
Place the daughter.
Oh.
Black sheep. Went to college, got involved with a group called the Far Horizons Foundation.
Students.
Drag my. Watch out!
Whoa! Zero G sex. I've heard it can be difficult. Man, I want to do some zero G hanky-panky.
And you wouldn't need a prosthetic. It regrows the limb perfectly.
Screw the inners in their magic jello.
What?
No offense, Oli. No, I'd rather a belt-to-build fake any day.
Because you're stubborn as hell.
All right, I'm coming in, and I don't want to see anything hairy.
Breaking Bad actor.
You know what I just can't figure out? We make it all this way.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Real slow, okay?
What the heck? Lose their minds over time.
Are you kidding? I thought I was getting my walking papers.
What for?
Well, fraternizing with our navigator, for starters.
Look, people like you. Hang on to this for a couple of days. It might feel good in the pocket. It's Pirate Bay.
That far outside the shipping lanes.
The Pirate Bay? You mean where people download all their shows?
You say we move on and let the good God Darwin sort it out.
Goes around, comes around. One of these days it's gonna be us stranded out there.
Is that a rat? How do they have a rat on board? Is it a pet rat? What are you gonna do with this information?
How many times have I told you? This calls for tickling.
No!
I thought she was genuinely angry.
How long has he been out of the tank?
10 hours.
You wish to hurt Earth. The Earth that is now crushing your weak belter lungs and your fragile belter bones.
I guess this guy pays well to be taken care of, huh?
Yeah, he pays our bosses pretty well too, pal.
Make sure your acceleration drug dispensers are full. This will be a high G maneuver.
I forget what G-force, at what G-force people start to pass out. Oh. That doesn't look fun.
I did it.
You're gonna come right out and say it?
I just couldn't shake it.
I'd keep that to myself if I were you.
So just for the record, guys, I don't want to be here right now.
Me neither.
She's off the clock.
And she can tell me that.
You want to know what else he's into?
Hey, now. Just looking out for you. Now, what would a rich girl do to really piss Daddy off on series?
Are you asking what I did? Bang every space bucker I could find.
Admit it. Miss me. Miss these little chads.
Good night.
Scopuli. I believe that's where Juliet is. I saw the back of her jacket.
What about that thing that looks like a big hole in the side?
Leda says it's a big hole in the side.
In Firefly, they said that a gun can't discharge without oxygen around it, right? Or is it that particular gun, Vera?
6 o'clock!
It's a helmet.
Naomi, Shed, we need more eyes in here. Does that look like a... Well, maybe not.
If it was a bomb, we'd be toast. It's a transmitter.
Ship just appeared near your location.
How is that possible? You cleared us after 1 million clicks.
Didn't show up on any of our scopes. We're setting you a rendezvous point. Get the hell back here.
Oh boy.
Where did that thing come from? Damned if I know. Just suddenly it was there.
Stealth tech. Has to be.
They all had stealth like that.
Mars.
Oh, look at that. I can...
He's a cute kid.
The gravity's different.
How old?
This is my own private domicile.
There you go, pal.
Nice catch. Nice throw, too.
There's nice. Keep those filters clean, asshole.
Torpedo launch. We're gonna take her for a ride. Alex, go around the asteroid. Run them now. Lead the torpedoes into the rock.
All the main characters die in the first episode. they trying to miss? They're destroying this.
Canterbury burnt like hell. You got incoming.
Oh.
Take a hit. Just stay calm. They just want the cargo. We'll SOS.
Eject the ice.
There's something you should know.
What? There is something you should know. And she died. How do you feel about redirecting and leaking that file now? Alright guys, so this was a pretty interesting start to the series, and I recognized a lot of the supporting actors and actresses in this episode. The doctor who is with Holden when the Canterbury is destroyed on the night, he played Joey's nephew in the Friends spin-off Joey. And the woman who gave Miller his orders to find Juliet Mao, she's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think, as Robin's mother. The mother of that Inhuman who can... That's spoilers for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But yeah, Robin's mother. Their hairstyles are so different that I wasn't able to tell until I was editing. But I think it's her. But I don't want to Google it because I don't want to run into spoilers by accident. And there was Mike from Breaking Bad. It's been a very, very long time since I've seen that show. So I'm not sure if it's Mike, if his name's Mike. And then there's Juliet Mao. Her actress looks super familiar when I was first watching this episode. And then while I was editing, I was like, I think she's Sinara from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. But she's a Kree in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so there's like a lot of makeup, so it's really, really hard to tell. Again, not Googling. But yeah, Juliet, she seems like to be like a bit of a rebel. She joined the Far Horizons Foundation, which seems like seems a little culty, but she's also fighting and protesting for what she believes in, I'm guessing. She's fighting against her family. And there... Miller's boss was saying that she's bringing shame to her family, supposedly. So I'm very curious about what that's all about, and maybe she's protesting on behalf of Belters, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I should... I guess we'll find out more in the future. And yeah, I noticed on her back it said Scopuli, so that's the name of the ship that Holden comes along later, that he wants to help rescue people or scavenge things from. But... I'm not sure if that means that the ship she was on at the beginning of the episode was the Scopuli. Maybe she was kidnapped, or maybe she was already on a different ship, but she was still wearing the same clothes. I don't know. So I was hoping Holden would find her, but all of these, the three main storylines seem to be connected in some way or another. I guess it's 4. If you count Juliet's story as a separate story, then Holden came upon the Scopuli. Miller is looking for Juliet as well, and then the people down on Earth have a different storyline. But everything seems to be very, very connected, and I can understand why people were saying like this is Game of Thrones but in space. It's like so many different stories that are told from so many different angles, and they're all going to intersect at some point, but not yet. And it's very interesting to see how they all act separately. Except for they're even further apart than they were in Game of Thrones. There was just like thousands of miles, and now this is light years and light years, supposedly. Oh, no, not light years. Never mind, not light years. Mars, Belt, and Earth. So that's still very far, much farther than the distance in Game of Thrones. But yeah, speaking of these different characters, a lot of them seem to have more black and white. They're not black and white characters. They're very much gray, which is another thing in common with Game of Thrones. Miller seems to be... He seems like he has a moral code. He's very supportive and understanding of the sex worker who had one of her clients killed. And he did something with his arm. I forgot exactly what it is, or I don't know if we found out exactly what it was. But he was basically saying, like, if they come around again, like, I got your back or something. And he went and locked that guy in the airlock and, like, took away his oxygen for a little bit, or lowered the oxygen on him a little bit, probably causing some hypoxia. And yeah, that was because he was not filtering the air correctly and causing kids to start coughing. And so he's got a moral code, but at the same time, he's like a complete jerk to his ex-girlfriend. First smashing that guy she was like trying to get a hold of. Like, she wasn't having any trouble on her own, but he wants to act macho and be like the man in front of her, and then like chasing off the guy she's talking to at the bar. And the way he just treats her is just really creepy and kind of a little bit disgusting. So yeah, he's a great character to start with, and it's interesting because he's working for what seems like an Earth or Martian, probably an Earth security firm, because the guy was like, well, voila, was like calling him a traitor. So I'm guessing the security firm is either Earth or Martian. I'm guessing Earth more likely. Don't know why Martians with the military power would have a security force out here. So yeah, so I can understand why he's but he also doesn't. He's trying to fit in as being an Earthling, but he can't really pass for one because even the guy with the long bones could tell. Like, I guess he knew him from back in the day, but he knew like there was a thing in the bone spurs didn't grow right or something. That was very curious. So there's a lot of little world building things that are really cool and interesting. There was that guy who got his arm chopped off by the ice. That was really interesting because they didn't treat it like it was such a big deal. He was like, oh yeah, just get another arm or grow it back. It's like, I'd rather have the engineering option rather than the biological option. That's not how he put it, but that's what I'm thinking of right now. And yeah, a lot of interesting things going on. I don't know what kind of technology you have that's a little more different from this one, but very cool. But yeah, and then there's the woman who was down on Earth. She did a very big switch from scene to scene. First, she was like with her grandchild. He threw a water balloon, and I thought she was like super mad, but she was like, tickle a monster or something, whatever. And then she switched to interrogating that guy who was supposed to be a terrorist. But it's a little early. I don't know. I wasn't exactly sure what his crime was. He seemed to be being contraband. I don't know what kind of contraband. And I think it's a little too early to make any judgments about him or her. So yeah, but she switched quickly between scenes. And yeah, I don't know how they did the casting in this episode, because that guy they were just like, oh, we need someone who looks like he has abnormally long torso and arms and legs, or what, or if it was like a little CGI. But yeah, he seemed like he was in pain from the heightened gravity, the normal gravity of Earth. And speaking of CGI and gravity, there were a lot of very interesting things that I wasn't sure how they did, like Juliet's hair in the beginning, just like how does they get it to flow like that, as if there was zero gravity? Did they somehow like shoot that in zero gravity, like they went on a plane that just like stops, and you know how it works, I guess. And there was a moment when they were pouring alcohol and it was like flowing to the side, and then the bird was flying, and yeah, that was really interesting. I've seen some of the similar things on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with episodes with gravity related things, but yeah, I'm very curious how they did that. Probably just CGI, but I don't know about the hair. I don't know if you can CGI that well, or depending on the budget, I guess. But yeah, curious about the CGI and stuff like that. And then we have Holden, who definitely seems like the reluctant hero type. I was saying that he looks a little like Robb Stark crossed with Jon Snow, and he doesn't want to be XO, the old one, who is the guy in Breaking Bad, Mike. I hope it's Mike, because I've been saying Mike. He's gone nuts, it seems, so Holden is sort of forced into the position, and he said himself in this episode he just wants things to stay the same, so obviously no luck with that. Like, things could not change more for him in the first episode, and he's the highest ranking officer now that the Canterbury is destroyed. I saw in the heads-up display that their pod or shuttle or whatever it's called is called the Knight. So yeah, he's the highest ranking officer on the Knight, and I think her name is Naomi. She knows his secret, wish he had kept it to himself, that he was the one who called them out to the Scopuli. So that secret's definitely coming out at some point, and it's going to be a big deal probably. Very curious as to how that will turn out. But yeah, Mars has that cloaking technology that's ridiculous and has a huge ship. That's an ice cream truck. And yeah, it seems like there's a lot of political intrigue in this series, which I'm very thankful for. I'm also still wondering about the rules and laws of this world, like that guy who got his arm destroyed. Like, what are workers' rights out here in space? Like, if they thought he couldn't work anymore, would he just be disposable and get killed? I'm glad there's seems to be good options for replacement limbs, but I'm sure in the lead up to Belter's working out there, there was probably a lot of exploitation of workers. There probably still is. And yeah, the children who were coughing like crazy working for the guy Miller eventually put in the airlock. That seems to be pretty bad too. Lots of different problems that can arise out of space travel that just aren't even thoughts in like us living day to day on Earth. They touched a lot on like some things on that with Firefly, which is one of the bigger sci-fi shows I've seen. One of the only ones? I don't know. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got way more sci-fi after season 3. And I'm trying to think of any other sci-fi shows I've seen. I guess not really. I don't think I've seen too much sci-fi, even though I love the genre, based on video games mostly. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty impressed with this episode. Pretty interested in continuing, of course. I'm going to continue. But I think I was glad when when the scenes were shot on Earth, because there was like normal human lighting, whereas in space it was just like everything. The lighting was kind of annoying a little bit, even. But I guess I guess we'll get used to it eventually, and I think I'm gonna give this episode a 7 out of 10 to start with. They're just laying the groundwork, so I understand. It goes pretty big at the end, but I'm not like. I wasn't super invested in any of the characters that died, even if it is a big deal to all of the characters who are still living, probably. And yeah, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Looking forward to continuing this. If you want to see episodes early, the next episode is up right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's on Patreon. If you want to watch the full reaction, it's also on Patreon. In the link in the description below. And be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Comment below what your thoughts are on this episode and how crazy I am. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye, friends.